She's sitting across from you. Nothing has happened yet. No hand on her arm, no lean in, no touch of any kind. And yet, her pulse has already changed. Here's what almost nobody tells you. Attraction isn't something you do to a woman's body. It's something you create in her mind, seconds before her body even knows what's happening. Most men spend their entire lives chasing physical moves, the right touch, the right timing, the right move at the bar, while completely missing the one thing that actually flips the switch. It has nothing to do with your hands. It has everything to do with what you make her feel before you're ever close enough to touch her at all. So what is it, really, that turns a woman on before a single finger moves? Stay with me, because once you see this, you'll never look at attraction the same way again. If you're watching this, I already know something about you. You're not the guy looking for a cheap trick. You're tired of advice that treats women like a puzzle to be hacked. The fake neg, the manufactured jealousy, the scripted lines that sound smooth in your head and hollow out loud. You've tried some of it. Maybe it worked once. Maybe it made you feel a little sick afterward, like you'd won a game you didn't actually respect. That instinct in you, the one that resists manipulation, isn't weakness. It's the exact thing that's going to make this work. Because here's the truth the pickup world doesn't want you to hear. The men who consistently create real attraction aren't the ones running tactics. They're the ones who understand a handful of psychological principles so well that their behavior becomes magnetic without them performing at all. Attraction stops being something you chase and becomes something you generate, as a byproduct of who you're being in the room. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what creates that pull. Not tricks, not lines. The actual psychological mechanics of why a woman feels drawn to a man before he's touched her, spoken much, or done anything overtly impressive at all. Here's my promise to you. By the end of this video, you'll understand why confidence alone doesn't work, why being nice quietly kills attraction, and why the men women describe as having something about them are running on principles you can learn in the next 20 minutes. I want to plant two things in your mind right now, because we're going to come back to them. First, there's a specific moment in any interaction where a woman decides, almost unconsciously, whether you're a man worth paying attention to. That decision happens faster than you think, and it has almost nothing to do with what you say. Second, the single biggest attraction killer isn't awkwardness. It isn't nervousness. It's something men do because they think it makes them likable, and it's quietly working against them the entire time. I'll unpack both of those. But first, you need to understand the truth about how attraction actually gets built, because what you currently believe about this is probably backwards. Let's get into it. Most men believe attraction is built through effort. Say the right thing, do the right favor, show enough interest, and eventually it clicks. It feels logical, it feels fair, and it is almost completely wrong. Attraction isn't built through effort, it's built through state, the emotional and physical energy you're carrying into the room before you say a single word. Here's why. Women, far more than most men realize, read energy before they read words. Tone, posture, eye contact, the pace of your speech, whether your attention is scattered or settled, all of it gets processed almost instantly, long before the content of your sentence lands. You could say something completely unremarkable, and if it's delivered from a grounded, present state, it registers as compelling. You could say something clever, and if it's delivered from a nervous, approval-seeking state, it falls flat. This is where cognitive dissonance quietly works against most men. You believe being agreeable, available, and endlessly accommodating should make you more attractive, because that's what being a good partner looks like once a relationship exists. So when it doesn't create attraction in the early stages, your brain doesn't update the belief. It just tries harder. More compliments, more availability, more effort. The dissonance between this should be working and it isn't working doesn't get resolved with new information. It gets buried under more of the same behavior. Let me give you a real scenario. Two men meet the same woman at a friend's dinner party. Man A is warm, attentive, laughs at her jokes a beat early, agrees with almost everything she says, and spends the night making sure she's comfortable. Man B is relaxed. He's genuinely engaged in the conversation, but he's not performing for her. He has opinions. He pushes back once, playfully, when she says something he disagrees with. And he's just as present with the other people at the table as he is with her. By the end of the night, she remembers Man B's name. Not because he tried harder, because he gave her nothing to manage. Man A required her emotional labor. She had to carry the energy, fill his silences, decode whether his agreeableness was genuine or strategic. Man B required none of that. His presence was self-contained. This is ego protection at work, and it cuts both ways. Man A's constant accommodation was, underneath it, a bid for approval, a way of protecting himself from the risk of disagreement or rejection. Women pick up on that bid, consciously or not, and it reads as insecurity dressed up as kindness. Man B wasn't protecting anything. He was simply there, unafraid of her reaction either way. That's the hidden mechanism. Attraction isn't earned through accumulated effort. It's revealed through a state of unguarded, grounded presence, the sense that a man is complete on his own, and whatever happens next is a bonus, not a need. So the real question isn't, what do I do to turn her on? It's, what state do I need to be operating from so that anything I do lands the way it's meant to? That's what we're building next. Let's turn this into something you can actually use tonight. Step 1. Own your attention before you try to earn hers. The action. Before any interaction, consciously settle your own attention. Slow your breathing, plant your feet, let your eyes actually see the room instead of scanning it for approval. The psychology. Attraction is contagious through nervous system state. If your nervous system is calm and settled, the people around you, including her, unconsciously begin to co-regulate to your state. If you're scattered and anxious, that spreads too. You are, quite literally, the emotional thermostat of the interaction before you speak. The common mistake. Men try to perform calm while internally scrambling. She will feel the gap between the performance and the reality every time. Don't act calm. Get calm first, then act. Step 2. Talk with her, not at her, and let silence exist. The action. Ask a question, then actually stop. Let a pause sit for a second or two before you fill it. Resist the urge to rescue every silence with more words. The psychology. Comfortable silence signals security. Uncomfortable, rushed silence signals anxiety. A man who can sit in a pause without flinching demonstrates, without saying it, that he doesn't need her to keep talking to feel okay. That unspoken security is one of the most attractive signals there is. The common mistake. Over-explaining. Adding 3 extra sentences to a joke that already landed, or a question that already made its point. Every unnecessary word after the impact moment dilutes it. Step 3. Have an actual opinion, and let it exist without defending it. The action. When she says something you disagree with or asks your opinion on something, give her the real one, briefly, without hedging it into mush, and without needing her to agree. The psychology. Agreeableness feels safe, but it's read as a lack of a self. A man with real, unapologetic opinions gives a woman something to actually respond to, something with edges, something real. Predictability without personality is invisible. The common mistake. Turning disagreement into an argument, or over-explaining your opinion until it becomes a lecture. State it once, with warmth, and let it stand. You're not trying to win her over to your view, you're showing her you have one. Step 4. Give focused attention, then visibly withdraw it. The action. Be fully present with her for a stretch of conversation, real eye contact, real listening, then naturally turn your attention elsewhere. Talk to a friend. Notice something in the room. Don't linger in her orbit out of obligation. The psychology. This is the single most underused principle in attraction, and it's rooted in basic reward psychology. Attention that never wavers loses its value because it feels guaranteed. Attention that comes and goes stays valuable because she can't predict it, and anything unpredictable but positive keeps the brain engaged. This isn't a game of hot and cold. It's simply not treating her as the only interesting thing in the room because you genuinely aren't wired that way. The common mistake. Doing this as a calculated technique, hovering, then dramatically turning away to test her. She will feel the manipulation instantly. This only works when the withdrawal is genuine because you actually have other things and people that matter to you. Step 5. Let physical energy speak before words do. The action. Without touching her, let your body occupy space naturally, open posture, unhurried movement, a voice that doesn't rise or rush when you're nervous. The psychology. Physical confidence reads as safety and competence at a level far below conscious thought. It's one of the oldest signals humans respond to, long before language. Our nervous systems were reading posture and movement for information about who was safe to be near. The common mistake: confusing stillness with stiffness. Grounded doesn't mean frozen. It means unhurried, not rigid. Notice what's absent from every one of these steps. No touching, no lines, no manufactured jealousy. Every single one of them is about your internal state and your behavior, because that was always where the real work was. Now I want to talk to the part of you that's already anxious about getting this right, because I know what happens next for a lot of men watching this. You'll walk into a room tonight, or you'll sit across from her this weekend, and you'll try to do the steps. You'll consciously manage your pauses. You'll perform your withdrawal of attention. You'll monitor your own posture like you're being graded on it. And in doing that, you'll recreate the exact, anxious, self-monitoring state that kills attraction in the first place. Here's the reframe you need to sit with. None of what I just gave you is a script to run. It's a description of what a grounded, self-respecting man's behavior naturally looks like. You're not learning lines. You're rebuilding the internal state that produces those behaviors on its own. That takes patience most men don't want to hear about, because patience isn't a viral hook. But it's the truth. The man whose presence draws people in isn't running step 4 in his head mid-conversation. He's simply not anxious about the outcome because his sense of worth was never on the table to begin with. That's not a technique you deploy. That's a place you arrive at, slowly, through repetition, through enough interactions where you survive the awkward silence and realize the world didn't end. If you're overthinking this right now, replaying old conversations, wondering if you said too much or too little, understand that the overthinking itself is the thing to release, not the content of the thoughts. Every extra minute spent auditing your own performance is a minute spent outside the present moment, and presence is the entire game. So stop trying to become magnetic overnight. Instead, practice being undivided. Undivided attention when you give it. An undivided sense of self when you don't need her approval. An undivided presence in your own body instead of floating 3 feet above it, narrating your own performance. Women aren't drawn to perfect men. They're drawn to settled ones. Men who've stopped negotiating with their own worth long enough to actually be in the room. Here's the line I want you to leave with tonight. You don't create attraction by trying to be enough. You create it by no longer asking the question. If this shifted something for you, don't just scroll past it, hit subscribe, because this channel is built entirely on this kind of real, grounded understanding of how people actually work. And drop a comment below telling me the one thing from this video you're going to practice this week. I read every one of them, and I'll see you in the next video.